Hi everyone, I'm Christina and I'm so thrilled to be your special guest host for the upcoming episode of the Gamestress Virtual Showcase. As always, we have an incredible show planned for you guys. Sony Electronic Arts and a surprise secret guest will be joining our discussion to really help inspire more women to become more involved in gaming. Plus, we always have tons of fun here via activities, show and tell, esports, and giveaways throughout our broadcast. I honestly can't see myself spending my Saturday mornings any better than hanging out with these amazing women. So be sure to check us out on Facebook Live and Twitch on April 10th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to really help promote and celebrate women in gaming. I'm really excited to see you guys there. Bye! Hi guys!
Hey!
Welcome. So I want to quickly just introduce these two incredible women. We have Estelle, who is the cinematic producer at Sony's Santa Monica studio. Hi, Estelle.
Hi.
Good. Everything is really, really awesome. And then we have Cathy, the amazing Cathy, who looks after the workplace experience at Electronic Arts, and they're here with us today. Thank you so much. And Cathy, you are such a trooper. I know I am there. So thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. It's good to be here. Thanks.
Thank you. So how are you guys doing?
Good. Yeah. Hope I'm not too fast asleep, but we're good.
Okay. Good. I don't know if I could do this at 2:00 in the morning.
So it's actually
right
3 now, so it's okay.
Okay, so it's not too bad.
I thought it was 2, but no, it's 3 actually.
Yay, 3:00. Yay. Do you have coffee? Coffee, right?
I do.
Sweet. Awesome. So I'd love to ask you guys, with your job titles and especially working for Sony and for Electronic Arts, what is some of the best parts that you love about your job and what excites you every single morning when you get up? Yeah.
For me, it's the community, it's the people, it's the players. I'm a player before I am a maker of games, and for me it's like contributing to that full cycle of I want to be making and developing and helping to participate in something that then I myself would want to play. And for me, waking up every morning, coming to work, being inspired by the most amazing developers who have got tons more experience than I do, and then just continuing to push me and challenge me every single day at work. That is everything for me. It's there's the I love being a producer, and there's that part of it, but also just kind of being part of something bigger. There's hundreds of people at Santa Monica Studio, and you are one piece of a wonderful larger puzzle that when all these people come together with this similar passion and similar talent, it just make amazing games.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, community is always the best. Whenever I have jobs, it's the community that I really go for, the people. So yeah, so Cathy.
So I'm just going to really jump on that one because that's exactly me. So I'm all about the people. I really, I love to try and create an environment where our people can thrive. So, I'm always listening to them and what it is that they enjoy doing, what energizes them. And then I try and implement things and do things around those things so that they can come into a place where they feel connected and valued, really. But yeah, I'm all about the people, and I love the people that I work with. I think they do such amazing things, and
people that you work with, and then people that you make the games for, which audience is everything.
Yeah. I make it for my 14-year-old self, my 10-year-old self. I was that player once, and there's still a part of me deep down inside that's still there, like that 10-year-old self, and that's the person that I'm doing all this for.
Oh yeah. And I know, Estelle, you actually worked for Disney for quite some time, which for me is just like mind-blowing because I love Disney, as you can tell, Marvel. But you actually had the opportunity to work in the theme park design, but you chose to go gaming instead, which of course we support very, very much here. But I would love to know if there's any similarities between theme park design and video game design.
Yeah, when I was studying in my undergrad for game design, the book that we were given and told to read, and we constantly referred to, is Jesse Schell's The Art of Game Design: A Book of Lenses. Jesse Schell is phenomenal. He is a game designer, but he's also contributed to many of the attractions at Disney World and Disneyland. There was a section of Disney World called Disney Quest that was all Schell games, and in that book he makes tons of comparisons to what it takes to design a part of a theme park versus making a game. I call it experience design. It's building an experience for a player or for a guest when you walk through Disneyland. Where your eye goes to, what you smell, the emotions you have, all of that is so carefully curated, very intentionally. It's exactly the same to making a game. You know, when you load up a game, from the tutorial all the way through the final boss, like all of your actions are being curated, and you make your own decisions. And there's a lot of games that are about choice, and that's really important. But even when you're making choices in games, you're guided through, well, this choice will probably lead to this, and then this choice will probably lead to this. How do I feel about that? How am I reacting to that? I think that's exactly the same as a theme park, and I think that we can learn a lot from theme parks, and I think theme parks can learn a lot from games, and we're seeing a lot of that. A lot of theme parks now have virtual experiences. VR is pulling a lot from, roller coasters and building worlds. Disneyland, Disney World, they're worlds, games are worlds. So
they're extremely interactive. Especially, I know that Disneyland has smells everywhere, just to keep you more immersive in whichever section that you're in. And as you can tell, I'm super excited for the Avengers Campus because there's supposed to be glorious things that happen there. But yeah, definitely, it's like you're in a video game, being immersive in the theme parks, which is incredible. Love it. And then Cathy, as a workplace experience manager, to keep the momentum and the positive environment for you and your team has to be a huge task. But what are some of the things that you and your team do to really help keep the high morale, and what inspirations do you find to really keep you guys going?
We're always trying to find a way to energize these people no matter where they are. And at the moment, with COVID, they're all working from home. So we're trying to still make sure that they feel connected, even though that, we can't see them, but we want them to know that we're still thinking about them, even though they're out of sight. So some of the things that we might do, there's so many. It might be something as simple as just sending everybody a message in an all staff chat channel. Or recently we did an Easter delivery to everybody's house, or it could be a virtual event or a fundraiser. So everybody will just get involved online, do some kind of challenge of some kind, either whatever steps or whatever, but that's us raising money for a greater good. So yeah, there's always something that we're trying to think of that brings our people together. But yeah.
Awesome. I love fundraising. Was a huge part of my whole childhood, teenage years, adulthood. My parents told me to contribute, especially to your audience and to the people that help you out. So you give and then they give. So tell us a little bit about your personal relationship with games and how you got into it, maybe at what age. Favorite games.
That's a bit of a story. I apologize if I talk a little bit.
Okay.
So my first experience with games is actually through my cousins. We had a Sega up in our beach house that we shared with. There were 5 families all sharing this beach house every summer, and we had a Sega that we would fight over. Sonic the Hedgehog was one of my first games, and then they had a PlayStation as well, and so Duke Nukem 3D was another one of my. I think I was maybe 6 or 7. I'd have to do the math, but I have vivid memories of there'd be a time when all the cousins go outside and play cricket, play soccer, and I would not be having it. We wanted to stay inside on that console, and that would happen a little bit. They'd all be outside, and I'd just keep going at it. And my parents and my aunties and uncles would come in and say, "Estelle, you're gonna join your cousins?" Like, nope. And there were other things as well. Books. I loved reading books growing up. For me, it's escapism and storytelling, and being drawn into a world and problem solving in games, especially, and feeling that victory of I got past the level. And so by the time I was, I want to say 12, my parents finally got me a PlayStation 2 of my own, and I went into Target. I was still in Australia back then. I'm originally from Melbourne.
And Cathy is too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So my father took me to Target to get a game to check that the console works. Let's just get a game to see, to run it. And I went immediately for Mortal Kombat because I had that had just come out, the new one, and I had all the graphics and the gore, and my dad was mortified. And so he picked up a game, and it was a Disney game, and I'm 12, and I'm like, I'm playing a Disney game, but it was Kingdom Hearts. And so anyone that has had this same story knows, like, a Disney game, you kind of think this is for children, and then you put in Kingdom Hearts, and you get introduced to the world of Final Fantasy, and it's not a childhood game really by any means. It's got a lot of combat in there, a lot of heart, and I just became obsessed. I then went into the Final Fantasy games and a lot more RPGs, JRPGs, all through high school. Allowed me to make some connections with friends that had also kind of grown up with Final Fantasy. And then when I want to say in the last year of high school, I was flicking through a magazine. It was the Herald Sun, which is one of our, I think Cathy would know, one of our Australian magazines. And Assassin's Creed 2 had just come out, and they had introduced this developer named Jade Raymond. They did a double-page spread of her, and I read it, and I was just so excited. So kind of, this is exactly what I do. I want to be like Jade. She's amazing. She's kind of heading up Assassin's Creed. Like, I want that. And I put that article in my mirror, so that as I was getting ready for school every day, it was like an inspiration and a motivation of it. Like, this is where I want to go. This is the direction. Just reminding me every day, like, as I was studying, getting into undergrad, and then eventually where my career took me, that article was always there. And it's actually still in Australia, that photo that was just posted. My parents just sent me that because we found the article. I took a read of it. I'm a little bit mortified by how it hasn't aged, because some of the questions that they asked Jay, that was 2009, do not age well at all. And I'm, there's a lot of, we could have a whole other conversation about that part of the industry. And certainly when I was 17, I didn't see it. But now that I've kind of been in the industry and I'm looking back at some of that article, that is not appropriate. That's not okay. And so going into undergrad, I studied game design at RMIT University in the city. And that was interesting because the Australian industry was relatively, it wasn't young. There's been Australian game studios since the 90s as well, but it's nowhere near the level of, I guess, the number and the grandiosity and how many people are hired, like 300. There certainly wasn't 300 people studios in Australia. So the undergrad degree that I took kind of set me up more for like an indie. It was like kind of a jack of all trades. Like, I had an animation class and I had an art class. I did programming. I did all the sound design. And that, I think, was where I kind of got the idea of being a producer, because I was learning a lot of each discipline, just a very light rather than deep diving into one. And I thought, okay, well, I'm understanding how all these pieces come together as a whole, how they impact each other, how I then could be, from a producer role perspective, helping navigate all the problem solving and the roadblocks, and having all these different disciplines come together, because I just have a little bit of an understanding of each. And unfortunately, what happened in 2011, 2012 is our games industry in Australia crashed. Unfortunately, the economy in Australia at that time just it wasn't having it. I think it was like 50, 60 cents to the American dollar. And if you're outsourcing, so like EA, I think Cathy could speak to this. EA is brand like here in America, but if they've got satellite studios and they're trying to outsource, or they've got these satellite studios that they're paying for, if that dollar shifts like that, it becomes super expensive to keep those people hired. And what happened was we lost, like, I think I counted something like 15 studios alone in the people I was networking. I remember I was networking with like Blue Tongue, owned by THQ in Melbourne. That got dissolved. All the people that I kept in contact with either went overseas or went into teaching video games, like at colleges. And I had to make a decision, and I chose to go overseas right as I was graduating. So I was very lucky to land an interview with Disney. They were doing the rounds in Australia to bring some people over to the theme parks. Because of Epcot, they really want international people there to like kind of get that, get Epcot kind of the experience of kind of, it's an international theme park. Yeah. So I actually moved to America 7 days after I graduated in December of 2012, and worked at Disney for a year and a half. Moved over to California proper, where I decided to do my MBA. I decided to kind of leave the theme park and go into games proper. So I got a production, assistant producer position, I apologize, at Fireforge Games in Orange County. Worked on the Ghostbusters companion game for the film that had come out. And went into Loot Crate. That was a subscription box company that was interested in dipping their toe into games. So it was 5 of us working on that. Did that for a little bit. Went over to Treyarch. My very first AAA game was Call of Duty Black Ops 4.
And now you're at Sony, which is incredible, right?
Right.
Amazing. That's just absolutely incredible. And Cathy, you're amazing, because you're a shining example of doing stuff behind the scenes, behind the curtain. So just like, what would you like to say to women who are really interested to really become a part of the gaming industry?
I would really say, just if there is a dream like that, follow it, because there are so many skills that are involved in everything that we do in order for us to make everything happen that we do. So if you've got that dream, follow it. Yeah, there's a large number of female gamers in the community. So having more women make games who speak to that audience actually is really helpful. So I think that's really beneficial, and it helps with diversity as well in our teams. Yeah. It's not just about programming and developing. There's so much more, and so many other skills that need to be recognized as well.
Yeah, definitely. And especially like Estelle, you said you worked in everything, like every little aspect, and that's how you became a producer, like not even like specifically a producer. So yeah, anybody who wants to follow the dream, follow it. Keep fighting, don't give up, swear. Sometimes it takes a long time, but do not.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not going to happen overnight, but keep going.
No, it's not. It will be like super, super subtle, and then you'll just get there. And unfortunately, that's just how it goes. So I know with COVID-19 and everything, stuff is starting to look up. I think you guys are opening up in Australia. I know in LA, we're trying to get back to normal, like sometime in June. But with people working remotely, Cathy, like, what do you guys do to like really help you maintain the high spirits when you can't look at people and people are doing their own things remotely? What do you guys do?
Well, as I touched on earlier, it'll be some way of us trying to keep them feeling connected and valued. So it'll either just be us, sending them a message just to make sure that they are remembered, that we are thinking about them, or it is a parcel drop or a virtual event or something like that, or just a team get together on a Friday afternoon or something simple like that. But we try our best to try and make sure that everybody still feels connected no matter where they are.
They're all loved, like no matter what you guys are doing.
They're
all loved.
They really are.
Like, thank you so much, because I don't know how COVID and quarantine affected you guys, but gaming, especially in 2020, saved my sanity so much. I got obsessed with Stardew Valley.
A lot of people, actually.
Yeah, right? I think the gaming industry just shut up, especially for 2020. And has there been any negative impacts that quarantine and COVID has affected you guys? And how has like video games really helped you through that? Estelle, we'll start with you.
I've had, unfortunately, a few losses in my family during COVID, and that was really hard because being, separated, everyone's in Australia, so it's very difficult it was impossible to get over there. Games have been kind of a source of escapism again and relaxation. I've been playing a lot of Civilization 5. And trying to jump back into Mass Effect because the new one's coming out. The remake's coming out.
Right. Yes.
But yeah, just keeping my head above water right now. For sure.
Gotcha. Yeah, because you guys are doing the sequel to God of War, which I'm really excited about because I have to say God of War was probably one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen. Apart like to the story, to the characters, to like the absolutely no loading screens, which was incredible, absolutely incredible. And you guys are doing the sequel. So I really hope that when the sequel comes out, you can come back and talk about that because I'm so excited. So thank you for working on all of these amazing sequels. So Cathy, has there been any negative impacts from COVID, and has video games really helped you get through all the craziness?
Yeah, I wouldn't really necessarily say negative, but challenging, absolutely, yes. COVID has certainly put a nice spin onto all these new things that we have to try and work through.
Right.
So, yeah, I had a few trips planned last year. So I was going to see my family in South Africa, which I couldn't do. But the big thing for me was not being able to see my son it's been 15 months now. He lives in New Zealand. So, yeah, that's my son, Brody. So that was us driving to Melbourne Airport on the 17th of January, 2020.
Wow.
And then all his flights after that were cancelled, obviously, because of COVID.
God.
But yeah, I think we now have a travel bubble with New Zealand. So hopefully soon I can go over and see him again.
See him. Oh, God.
After such a long time.
God, I can't imagine not being. Thankfully, my family is in Northern California and I'm here in LA. So there's been some time where I can actually go see them. And I live with my boyfriend, so I can't get away from that guy at all, which I love. I couldn't imagine not seeing him for 15 months. Oh, my God. Hopefully you have furry animals to keep you, or is it just you?
Well, I must say, having working with the people that I do, I work with an amazing bunch of people, and I couldn't have been more grateful for that situation because every single day I've been, I bring my whole self to work. I'm able to smile. I'm happy about the things that I'm able to do for them. So that has really helped me as well.
Yeah, the community for probably both of you guys have just helped out. That's just incredible to be a part of an awesome community like the gaming community, and especially with women coming more so into the gaming community. Is there anything that you feel the industry could possibly do more, or something that you would like to see in the future for women in gaming, either ones that are just starting out or who haven't started out or who are already in the industry right now? Estelle, what do you think?
It's difficult, I think, because part of some of the activities I was doing at Activision and also now at Santa Monica Studio is going back to schools and trying to inspire from the school, or before they start thinking about what undergrad degree they want to take. I think for women there are there's a lot of history there for sure, and it hasn't been. I mean, just look back at that article I was talking about with Jade. But I also think that when studios go to seek out and find those women, especially in some STEM, there's still a lot of women who are they're not necessarily choosing STEM first there isn't as much saturation, I guess, in applications from women. So to kind of go back to where it begins, the heart to kind of inspire, STEM and video games in as early as kindergarten. I was part of I volunteered for something with Sony Santa Monica called Project Scientist, and it's a summer boot camp that they have, like, I think as early as 3 years old all the way up to 10 years old. They came to the studio. We showed them, light programming, some games, like how to program and like how to animate, get the juices flowing if this might be something that could inspire them later on. But for the people that are my age and just recently graduating and are coming into the industry, especially women, minority groups, non-binary, LGBTQ plus, I think it's tough because it's already saturated with I guess males and white males from the going back into the 80s and 90s, and those people have got a lot of experience. They have built up their careers. They're talented, and it's difficult to compete with that. And it's just a matter of I think time, but also every single day doing your part. Creating awareness in the workplace, doing DE&I activities where you can educate people and say, hey, that comment was sexist, or we shouldn't be introducing these themes into our games because it gives a bad message. It's not just about the developers, it's about the players. Our player community is unfortunately quite toxic. And how can we kind of, I think there's two approaches. You can brute force it, or you can just kind of culturally and subtly and just do it kind of under the skin so that people kind of attach to that, I think, better than you just kind of banging that over their head. Then you get resistance. And we're seeing a little bit of that, last year as well, not just in games and in women and diversity, but, we saw that with the riots that were happening last year. You've got these polarized positions. And if one is trying to really brute force the other's just going to dig their heels in the sand. So I think that we need to progress forward with a very careful, very caring and kind approach to how we're trying to make the world a better place and introduce themes of fairness and equality.
Yeah, definitely. Cathy, what are your thoughts?
I actually agree with everything Estelle just said.
Yes.
But I think what we could also start doing from now actually is just recognizing the amazing women that we have around us and that we work with, and hopefully that then can inspire younger generations as well.
Yeah, definitely. So I love asking this question of everyone that I interview, but we'll start with you, Cathy. Any advice that you have for women starting out or in gaming right now? What is it? Go.
Follow your dream. Follow your dream and stick with your guns. If that's what you want to do, just follow through and be consistent and make it happen.
Yes.
You can. Believe in your dream. Follow your dream and stick with your guns. If that's what you want to do, just follow through and be consistent and make it happen.
Yes.
You can. Believe in your abilities and you can do it.
Yes. And Estelle?
I would take my own advice to myself and find that person that sets the bar for you in the industry. It's becoming really competitive right now. And if you have a dream or an idea of where you want to be, for me, it was Jade when I was 17. Constantly find that bar. Find someone who has done that journey already. We do have a ton of women that are amazing in our industry. My studio head, Yumi Yang, amazing, amazing woman. And before her, Shannon. These women have now been in the industry for 30 years. They've got a lot of knowledge and a lot of advice to give. And I wouldn't say just go cold calling them and asking them for a coffee, but find that person that has done it. Like, try and see if you can track what the choices they made, their path, what decisions did they choose to do, where did they pivot to, why did they do that, and see if that helped set those standards for you of like, okay, I've got to go out and network and be around these people that will challenge me and lift me up. You're not going to be perfect and amazing out of the gate. I absolutely wasn't. But being around people and seeing their stories, I'm like, holy wow, they're amazing. It forced me to look within myself and go, I need to do X, Y, and Z. Like, that's a very producer mentality of how do I get from A to B, but that's career progression.
Yeah, definitely. So everyone out there, Don't give up. Keep fighting. Always keep fighting. And this is your dream. Seriously, go for it. Find your mentor. Find the person that you admire and watch their career. Look at what they're doing and just strive to be them and then better. So again, thank you so much, both Cathy and Estelle, for joining us, and for Sony and Electronic Arts. I had a blast. I had so much fun hanging out with you guys. I know you guys are incredibly busy, and Cathy, please go take a nap after this. I definitely would if I was you. So thank you.
Right back to bed.
Oh yeah, yes, back to bed. So thank you again so much. You guys are absolutely incredible, and we look forward to seeing what you guys have in the future, and hopefully to talk to you guys very, very soon. So thank you. Have a great weekend, you guys.
Thank you so much. It was great being here.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. Oh, they are absolutely incredible. Hi. Absolutely incredible women. Go check out God of War, because it's seriously one of the best games I've ever played. So right now we're going to take a quick little break and thank our amazing sponsor, but stay tuned because we have the incredible cosplayer Rowan Rose on next.
This episode of GVS is brought to you in part by Game Realms Video Game Store in Burbank, California. Promotional materials and consulting provided by Deva, and merchandising by Sam T's Apparel and Merchandise Company. We'd also like to shout out a couple of our favorite online gaming communities. Be sure to check out Global Gaming Guild, an uplifting community of positivity-driven gamers, and also Femme Gaming, another passionate community dedicated to uplifting women gamers.
Welcome back, everyone. So our next segment is Meet a Gamestress Live, and we have the incredible cosplayer Rowan Rose. Hello, Rowan. How are you?
I am great. How are you? My cat decided she wanted to be a part of the show.
That always happens with like virtual stuff like this. My dogs are so intrusive. It's adorable, but thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited to talk to another cosplayer. You have no idea.
I am too. I somewhat a little bit, like just really quickly, went through your Instagram and saw like all yours.
Oh my God, really? Because I went on Facebook and I kind of went on some of yours, and I saw that years ago you did Dean Winchester, right? And I did Dean Winchester. It was one of my first cosplays ever. I'm like, oh my God, I mean another Dean Winchester. Oh, Supernatural fan, girl after my own heart.
I actually cut my hair for that too.
I saw you were a trooper. I couldn't do that. I just. Props to you, girl. Props. So where did you start? Because I started cosplaying like later in life. I always wanted to. I love characters and stuff. But where did you start with your cosplay journey?
Sit down, honey. I started actually kind of a summer. So when I was in freshman year of high school, that's when I kind of discovered what cosplay was. And it had been something that I had always wanted to do. And then my friend was nice enough to say, hey, do you want to go to this convention? I'm going to put her down. Hey, do you want to come to this convention with me? And I was like, yes. But at the time I was like, you know what? It's a convention. I need to have a cosplay. Even though going to a convention, there's no dress code.
No.
And my first ever cosplay, actually, it has never ever seen the light of day because at the time I didn't like really have any social media or post anything, but I had gotten a Halloween wig from Party City, so it was really crappy.
Yes.
And at the time, my favorite game of all time, the only thing that you could ever talk to me about was Kingdom Hearts.
Nice.
And so all I could find was a black and white wig. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this pirate eye patch and be Zigbar.
That's awesome.
And that was my first cosplay with a crummy wig pulled back into a ponytail and an eye patch that still had the skull and crossbones on it. It's Jolly Roger. It had a Jolly Roger on it that I took a Sharpie to and colored in.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that was my first cosplay. but it didn't end up making it to the convention because by that time I had bought a much better wig and just did sexy on.
Nice. I think my first cosplay was Spock from like the original Star Trek series. That was my first cosplay. So I was a female Spock. But man, doing those ears, it was just, it wasn't the most fun. And trying to take them off was even more fun. So, oh my gosh. But I heard that your mom has always been super supportive of you and your creative expression and stuff. So really quick, happy early Mother's Day, Rowan's mom from Gamestress. Hi. But she sounded like a absolutely incredible woman. So if you can, please tell us a little bit about her and how her open parenting really helped you like keep going with cosplay and video gaming.
It helped a lot. My mom was great, and yes, happy early Mother's Day, Mom. My mom always been an artist. Her mediums like painting. She's always liked crafting.
Nice.
And she always was playing video games, like growing up when I was little. And her favorite series was the Final Fantasy series. She would always play like Final Fantasy, and like her four favorite that she'd always go in between were 17, 8, 9. I just said 17, 7, 7,
I was
8,
like,
9,
wait.
and 10. There isn't a 17. Not yet.
No, not yet. They'll get there.
Yeah. But her absolute favorite was 9. She'd always play 9 over and over again.
Nice.
And me and my sister, we were just like real little in diapers. We had no idea who was saying anything on the screen. We just knew that my mom named us not us after the characters, but she named the characters after us. Because you could name the characters in the original one. And we would, whenever there was a fight scene, we'd be standing there like trying to be in their pose and trying to like do the things that my mom had input for the turn base.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up, she was really okay with basically anything we wanted to do, as long as get down. My cat's on the counter. Honey! Oh no! Get down!
Catastrophe! He just wants to steal the show. Are you okay?
I'm okay. She's okay.
Okay. Oh.
She just did a flip.
Oh my god.
What was I saying? Right, my mom.
Yes.
She was really okay with basically anything we wanted to do, as long as we weren't hurting ourselves or we weren't hurting other people. She really didn't care. And she was very supportive, like anything we wanted to do.
Oh, that's amazing. It's always so helpful when you're a kid and a teenager, especially a teenager, when your parents are just super, super supportive of anything that you want to do. I know my parents have always been supportive of video games, or I act, so they've always been supportive of my acting, which is incredible. My dad got me into video games. He would play like Super Mario with us when I was a kid. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just button mashing stuff. I didn't care. But my dad was really the one that loved video games and got us into it. So I know with my cosplaying, I have a certain like process that I go through. It's probably not elaborate, it's just whatever. But you probably have a way better process than I do. So can you please tell us a little bit about it, from the inspiration of what you want to do all the way to the fruition of the amazing cosplay that you create?
Yeah, I would say if I had to describe my process, it would be utter and complete chaos from beginning to end.
Love it.
It usually starts with an obsession over a character. Like I will get into something and I will fixate on one specific character, and I will be like, I love this character. This character is like, I want to be that character. And then it turns into, well, cosplay them.
Yep.
And then I usually like when it comes to picking the characters I'm going to cosplay, because I love so many characters, and obviously I'm not cosplaying every single one of them.
Yeah.
I tend to start from how practical would it be to make this costume?
Right.
Because I try to make all my costumes.
Yeah, me too.
And in the beginning, I always went for characters that had a little more of like realistic clothing.
Mm-hmm.
To kind of make it easier on myself, because then I could just go to a store and buy all the clothes that I needed.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I became an adult and I had my own money and own time and own space,
right,
I bought myself, or I didn't actually buy myself. My mom, my wonderful mom, back to my mom, bought me a sewing machine.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, and that's what kind of kicked off the making my costumes, because I would either buy clothes that were similar and hand sew together to make it look more realistic, or not realistic, but closer to the character.
Yeah.
And that would take me like hours and hours. And the idea of having to like sew a whole costume was so daunting on me. So I was really appreciative when my mom got me a sewing machine. And my first ever cosplay I ever made on my sewing machine was She-Ra from the Princesses of Power.
Oh, nice.
I really love that cosplay. That cosplay has a special place in my heart, because that is the first cosplay that I ever made from head to toe. Because like most of my cosplays had always been modified clothes.
Yeah, I feel I'm kind of in the same aspect where I get like I did Rey from Star Wars, because my dad was the old school Han Solo when we went to Comic-Con a couple of years ago. He wanted to be the old school Han Solo. And for Rey, I like got the gaucho pants from Amazon, and I kind of got a random white t-shirt that I doused in like coffee and little bits and pieces. And I actually made the staff with like foam, and that took a long time to do for that. And then I was Winter Soldier. I love gender bending. I do. Some of the guys are just such awesome characters. But I made the arm. I found a tutorial on YouTube where the arm was made out of duct tape. So I actually folded and taped and made this huge arm out of duct tape for the Winter Soldier. And I loved it. And yes, I am duct taped into that arm for sometimes 12 to 16 hours when I go to conventions. And yes, it is painful, but it's epic and I love it. But I've never actually sewed my own costumes. It's daunting. Like, I want to be Xena, the warrior princess, but her costume is crazy with all the metal and stuff. So props to you. Like, I want to get on your level to make head to toe costume, because that's an inspiration in and of themselves. So I know, like, with your mom being so positive and really supporting your gaming and your cosplaying, and I know you're not a mom, but you have a little niece that's really getting into cosplaying, and you're helping her out with that, which is awesome. I wish I had little nieces and nephews that were geeky like I was, but I don't. So I get to talk with awesome cosplayers like you. But can you please tell us a little bit about what's going on and how she's doing, and just some of the ways that you're helping her with that?
Well, last I heard anything, she's doing really good. It's been kind of like she doesn't live like super far away from me, but we usually, it's kind of hard to get together. But she is starting out in kind of like the realm that I think all cosplayers start at, and that's closet cosplays, where you get a wig, and then that's like any outfit you can throw together that the character might wear, or and she's actually been doing really good with those. Like, right now her favorite show is My Hero Academia. And yeah, and her favorite character is Bakugo. So one of these days I'm hoping we can schedule it so we can get together and I can kind of show her like how to make cosplays and kind of plan a cosplay, because I don't think you have to make your cosplays to be a cosplayer.
Yeah.
but it's kind of part of the fun of cosplaying to me is getting to make pieces or making the whole thing. And this is kind of like throwing back to the previous statement. You mentioned like making a staff.
Yeah.
There's hours that go into making cosplays that I wouldn't really say are hours that you feel, at least for me, I don't ever feel bored or tired. I'm just like, I love how this is coming out. And then I get to the midpoint and I'm like, this is coming out great. I hope I don't ruin it. And then I keep going and then it comes out great and I'm so happy. And I've spent like an entire day doing that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think my Ray's staff, because I did every little intricate detail, I think it took about 6 hours. And I didn't even realize that I took 6 hours on it, because when I finished it and just that elation of finishing something that you've worked so hard on and that you're so passionate about, it's mind-blowing. I love it when something comes together and you create it. So how old is she?
She is 11.
11. Oh, she's just starting out. She's such a little baby. And you said she's going to her first convention, right? Possibly?
No,
not yet. Okay.
Not yet.
Not yet.
That she had asked about going to one, but
gotcha. Okay. Well, that will be super, super exciting, because I think I went to Comic-Con years ago, and I think the first day I didn't do any cosplay. I was like, I felt weird being with all these incredible people and not being in costume. I'm like, I don't feel like I fit in. And then I dawned on Spock. I was like, my people. Like, that's what it feels like. And it's so much fun. And yeah, a lot of my cosplay can be super intricate, but then you have like Dean Winchester, which is basically jeans, a t-shirt, sometimes a leather jacket, and like his necklace from way back in the earlier seasons. I'm like, boom, I'm Dean. Like, sometimes it can be so easy and then so intricate, which is awesome. And I know with cosplay, especially for women, like our appearance is the main focus, and women are especially with a lot of the cosplay that these characters dawn on, with the amount of skin that is shown. Like, we are at constant risk for being trolled and having our bodies like weaponized against us. Have you ever felt any sort of discrimination against that? And if you have, how did you deal with it? And what would you like to say to the little girls or to people our age that are getting into cosplay? What would you say?
I've certainly had experiences like that. Like, I feel like you have your big stories that really stick with you, and then you have like micro transactions every day that you take note of, but you don't actually remember the specific interests because it just happens so often. And I kind of feel like, because that was something I was really worried about when I first got into cosplay, and what kind of helped me get past it was realizing that visually, cosplay is like a very visual art form. So when people are judging or critiquing cosplay, it doesn't matter. It's going to be on the visual concept of it. And everyone, I feel like, man or women specifically, whether you're skinny, fit, overweight, blonde hair, brown hair, race, gender,
anything.
Anything and everything will be people will try to weaponize against you. And basically, at some point, you have to ask yourself if you're willing to give them those stones to throw. And that's not to mean like it's your fault for getting attacked. Obviously, it's never anyone's fault for being attacked. But it's kind of one of those, like, everyone gets criticized over something. And I usually ask myself when it comes to people's comments, are they commenting on something that I can immediately change? No. Are they making it a bigger deal than it needs to be? Yes. So I don't need to listen to it.
That's awesome. I love that mentality about it because like it doesn't matter what race you are, what size you are, what gender, like everybody, you can't please everyone. Someone's going to say a nasty comment. Someone's going to do something about it. And you just have to like, I know there's a part of you where you have to have tough skin and just not listen, because if you love what you're doing, especially the characters that you love to cosplay, then just do it. Like, don't worry about what other people are telling you. If you are happy with yourself, who you are, what you look like, and you are super ecstatic to be this amazing character that you absolutely adore, do it. Don't worry about the other people. If the other people want to hate, haters gonna hate. Like, what can you do? Find like the people that are your community and that love you for it and support you 100%. So thank you so much for being an inspiration to your niece and to other women that sometimes get so scared to do anything cosplay because they don't want to put that vulnerability out there in the world, because you just never know with the type of people, especially on like social media and stuff. You just never know what people could throw at you. Never.
Yeah, and cosplay is such a big community too. So like anybody who's worried about people attacking them over insecurities, there are so many other people who deal with the same thing and will know what you're dealing with, kind of, and where you're coming from, and you can make friends that will kind of help you through all that, and they'll, like you said, help support. And to me, cosplay is at the core of cosplay has always been just having fun. Like cosplay, there are people who like make money cosplaying, and that's great.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's about showing your love and appreciation for a character, whether that's a good character or a bad character, or a childhood character or any of that. You are showing that, hey, this is a character that I like and love enough that I put hard work into imitating them as close as possible. And what you're showing when you cosplay is mostly your love for that character.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Because, like you said, hours, days, sometimes months, even years go into some of these crazy cosplay. Like, whenever I see something absolutely incredible, like the Bioshock, I see the Bioshock characters, and it's amazing. And just, oh my God, like, just it's all love. It's passion for these characters. It's passion for the community that's built around these characters, TV show, video games, anime, like all this stuff. Like when you put so much effort into something, either simple or elaborate, it just shows your love for these characters. And you know you're going to find those awesome people that support you 100%. You're like, oh my God, you're awesome. Can I take a picture? Cool. Like, totally supportive. So I know women, again, are making such huge strides in like gaming and the comic culture today. So what are your thoughts on how far we've come, and would you like to see more in the future for women in these industries?
I think it's so amazing how far we've really come in the fact of gaming. Like, I remember in the beginning when games sort of, well, of course I wasn't there for the very beginning of games, but in the beginning, a lot of games were like considered male oriented. But like, if you actually look into the history of games, most game developers never intended for them to just be boy games. And we are at a point now where there are so many women in the industry having their voices be heard. and there could always be more. Of course, there could always be more. And the fact that we have games like Mass Effect where you can be female characters and the lead doesn't always have to be male.
No.
I love that there are so many games like that. And I think that's kind of why I like Final Fantasy too, is because there's always like this nice mix of protagonists, and I would love to see more female protagonists in future games. Like they had Final Fantasy VI where the main protagonist was Terra. They had Final Fantasy X Part 2 where Yuna got to step into the role of being the protagonist, and then Lightning in 13. And it's just, to me, it's so great to see that women are getting to be the heroes of their stories. And I wish more games would feature female characters on the cover. Like, I know that's kind of a tiny thing, but that's like a lot of video game companies won't feature female protagonists, especially in like games where you can pick your character's gender. They will always try to keep it either looking more masculine or little neutral, and neutral's fine, but I think it would be great to see some female protagonists on the cover of their games.
Yeah, because that's what you see first. When if you don't even know the games and you're looking at like all the titles and just the covers of it, that's what you see. Is it a male or female? And it's funny because a lot of the games that where you can pick the genders, my boyfriend just played Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and he always loves playing the women because just women are awesome and they should be more of the heroes in video games and stuff. And I know there's female characters, especially in like the DC comics and the Marvel comics, that are there, but they haven't been prominent in our culture. So I really hope with She-Hulk coming out soon and the Black Widow movie, like I really hope that we start getting more of the females, excuse me, like highlighted and everything, which is incredible. Super excited. Right. So before we say goodbye to you, which I'm really sad about because I love talking cosplay with an actual cosplayer, can you please, I know your social media handles have been scrolling on the screen. Can you please just let us know where we can find and follow you for your cosplay journey?
You can follow me on my TikTok, which is Anime Creep 141. I post a lot of stuff on there. It's either cosplay or dumb videos, but it's mostly cosplay.
Nice.
Or you could follow me on my Instagram, which is MakeupGeek141. I'm not as frequent on Instagram, but I'm trying to be because it really is a good resource. But I would like to shout out really quick my friend. We saw some of my cosplay photos a little bit that were on the screen. Those were taken by the lovely Lindy Beardsley, and she actually has a photography company up here.
Cool.
It's Peekaboo Studios. I believe that's the pronunciation of that.
Okay.
But yeah, she's really great. Yep, there it is. Peak Photography.
Nice.
Peekaboo's her TikTok.
Gotcha.
That was my mess up. But she is so amazing, and she's always doing like fun, artistic photo shoots, and she's always really interested in like getting other artists and creators, especially female artists and creators in our community together to work on stuff. And she's really great. So if you're ever in North Dakota and you need a photographer,
I'll definitely look both of you guys up, and hopefully one day we'll go to like a convention. Comic-Con is definitely closer to me. I don't know what the closest convention is to you, but hopefully we'll meet and we'll be Dean Winchester together because I'd be so happy. You have no idea. So I just want to thank you so much, Rowan. I had an absolute blast talking to such an incredible cosplayer. I can't wait to follow you on your cosplay journey. Good luck to your little niece. I'm super excited to see like her her at her first convention, because I know she'll be blown away. So again, thank you so very, very much, and I hope you have an absolutely incredible weekend.
Thank you. You too. I was so happy to be here. Bye.
Bye. So, oh my God, I had an absolute blast talking to these three incredible women. Please make sure to follow them on all of their social medias and to look out for their future in the video game and cosplaying community. Thank you so very much for joining us and for helping us in the promotion and celebration of all these incredible women in gaming. Please follow us on all of our social medias: Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Please follow us, and I will see you guys for the next one. Again, my name is Christina. Thank you again, and have just an incredible weekend, gamers and gamestresses. Bye!